Good morning, my YouTube viewers. Crystal here. I'm just here this morning because I wanted to make another video for you. I've been working on a data set for over a day, trying to come up with a solution to it. I was using another platform. I was trying to solve it with FB Profit, and I couldn't solve it with FB Profit. So what I did was I solved it in a way that I know how to solve it, but I'm going to keep working on FB Profit to see if I can find a solution for a problem similar to this using FB Profit, but I'm going to use a much smaller data set, and because I'm going to use a much smaller data set, hopefully I can solve the problem and learn how to do it. Here we go. Anyway, so that's why you didn't get a video out of me yesterday, and you didn't get a blog post out of me yesterday because I was busy trying to solve this problem. And unfortunately, that's the way it goes in the field of data science, because I try to solve the problem and then I make the video on it and then I make the blog post. But if I'm stuck in the middle of something, don't know what I'm doing, then it's going to be very difficult for me to make a video or a blog post. And this was one such instance, because I'm still new to do data science and there's a lot I don't know and I have to learn it all on my own. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and go on this code review, because the code review is the best way to analyze it. And to say that I got started on this code review because somebody had a web page where he was using this data set on a web page, but he was using the melt command and a whole bunch of other stuff on the melt command. And I tried. I don't think that this guy obviously is a much better programmer than I am, but he's not very logical and he's not very organized, and I don't think that he presented the information very well. And as a result of that, I just couldn't make heads and tails of what he was trying to do. And it was really long too. He was like, what he was doing was he was trying to get the error down, and it was really long-winded and drawn out. And I thought, well, there's got to be a quicker way to do this. And so I was trying to use FB Profit, and no matter what I did, I just couldn't move forward. So I decided to do what I know how to do. And then so we're going to solve this problem with what I know how to do before I go to try to find a smaller data set and solve the problem with the smaller data set. This data set was obtained by the UCI, and so I wrote the program in Google Colab. And the nice thing about Google Colab is that it's free and it has many libraries already installed on it. So all I had to do was import the libraries. And this is the read the data set. I got the data set from the UCI, but I had loaded it onto my personal GitHub account, and then we had to filter it because the data set had a lot more information on it as well. And because the data set had a lot more information on it as well, so what we just did was we just filtered out the week and the product. And then that was 811 rows by 53 columns. And basically, so you've got the product code and then you've got 52 weeks. And so that totals the 53 columns. Okay, so then what we were going to do is we were going to check for null values. And in this instance, there were not any null values. And then the next thing that we were going to do is we were going to define our x, y, and x test values. So in this particular exercise, we're not going to have a validation set. So Y is data.idhoc, and then it's going to be the first column. So that's what we're doing, is we're taking the first column. And train is data.idhoc, and we're going to take all of the columns up until, we're not going to take the first column because that's Y, and then we're going to take all of the columns up until the last column. And next test is going to be iLock, and then what we're going to do is we're not going to take the first column, and then we're going to take all of the columns. So X-train will have 52 columns, and X-test will have 52 columns, or 51 columns really. And then we check the shape of that. So X-train is 51 columns, Y-train has 1 column, and X-test has 51 columns, because X-train and X-test have to be the same size. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to scale the data. So we're going to put X-train on the standard scaler with sklearn, and then we're going to transform X-train and transform X-test. So we have to scale the model. And then what I did was I wanted to try a neural network, so I tried MLP regressor, because I wanted to try this on a neural network. But the problem is that we can't really check to see how accurate X-train is, because this is simply a prediction, and we can't check how accurate it is. And so I just manipulated the hyperparameters to make max iterations is 3000, solver is LBFGS, random state is 1, verbose is true, and then fit X-train, Y-train. So YPRED equals model.predict X-train, YPRED equals YPRED S type N, and then YPRED. And then so you can see we've got the prediction YPRED. Now what we could do, which I didn't do, is, it said we could compare YPRED against the last, we can compare YPRED against the last column of X-train and see what that is. That's one thing we can do. I just thought of that, so I can do that as soon as I finish this. Video, I'll do that. I will compare YPRED against the last column of X-test and see how accurate the score is. I just thought of that. And that's another good thing about performing these code reviews, because when I'm performing code reviews, I can think of things that I need to do. So I had excuse me. So I had a 99.96% accuracy using MLP regressor. That's a neural network with sklearn. And now we're going to make predictions on X-test. And so we did use the model on X-test, but of course we don't know how accurate X-test was, because we don't have anything to base it on. But we put it on a data frame anyway. So these are our predictions, even though we don't have anything to base it on. And then what I decided to do was I decided to use random forest. And the reason why is because I haven't had the best of success with MLP regressor, and so I thought, well, let's check it against random forest, because random forest is a tried and tested model. So we put the X train, Y train on random forest. We had a 97.94% accuracy on random forest, so that wasn't as high as before. And then we made a prediction on it, and we put that on a data frame. And then what I did was I just compared the output of random forest with the output of MLPR. And then so I made a little for loop there. So 219 values, 219 examples were the same, and 592 examples were not the same. So that's between the output of random forest and MLPR was 27% accuracy. So that tells me that, at least 27% of the predictions were the same prediction. So that tells me that perhaps MLPR is okay to use. But what I will do when I finish this, I'm going to take the prediction and I'm going to compare it against the last column of X test and see what happens, see what the accuracy is there. And then that will give us a better indication of which one is better to use, MLPR or random forest. And then I'm going to make a blog post on this as well. So when I make the blog post, I'll give you the link to my GitHub account so you can see the file and look at the file yourself. So you'll have to wait until I do the blog post to get that information. So that concludes this presentation. I know it wasn't very long this time, which some people might like that. If you like my video, please like, subscribe, and share. If you want to keep receiving my videos, then please press the little bell on your YouTube screen, because that's your notification button, and you will be notified whenever you receive another video from me. And then basically if you want to keep receiving my videos, then please watch them. And the reason why is because if you don't watch them, then after a while YouTube will just unsubscribe you, which I noticed that happened, that I was unsubscribed a few times. So thank you so much for watching my video, and I look forward to making new videos and blog posts for you in the future.